so happy that you are here today. I'm happy I'm here today too. I'm happy that we're here together. Thank you for joining me. This is the You Can with Suzanne show, and that be me. I'm Suzanne Suchan, because guess what? If Sue can, you can too. All right, so as always, I am ever so excited. I have some special guests with me. I don't have a story for you today, and I'm gonna get right to our guests because they have so much information to share. Here we are. So in studio with me today, I have Breighton and Kathleen Dawe, and they are wonderful people that I met through, a mutual friend, ShadowFox, who you're gonna meet in a future episode with her husband, Lee Two Hawks. And so you guys are, you're spiritualists, right? For starters.
Yes, we are.
That's probably as far as I can go with any knowledge whatsoever. But why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell me who you are and what you do. Fill in the blank for me.
Thank you. I think that we wear many hats, but the hat that you would be most interested in is one that would be, we're metaphysical teachers. I'm also a children's librarian and a storyteller and many other things.
Okay,
But,
I'm not gonna interrupt you already now, because my show is kind of like the for dummies kind of thing. So metaphysics is a big word. So can you elaborate on what exactly does metaphysics and metaphysical stuff mean?
Metaphysics is that which is beyond science. Science is what they would call, it's all contained in a box, right? Mm-hmm. All of the rules have to fit in that box. Metaphysics deals with all the rules that are outside the box. So if you're the kind of person that likes to draw outside the lines, metaphysics is for you.
Yay! All right, cool. Okay, now that we got that out of the way,
Right.
you are metaphysical teachers.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So did you have a calling for this? Like, were you like a born psychic, or how does that work?
I was a child whose psychic gifts came online when I was about 7, and I had precognition, and I didn't get my Hogwarts letter, and so I didn't have any training. But when I was 10, my parents gave me a book about Edgar Cayce, and they said, "This is a very nice man. We don't know what you do, but we know you'll grow up to help people like he did."
Oh my gosh.
So all my life has been a search of what is this hibby-jibby that I do, and how can I put it to benefit, to be of service in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And this metaphysical teachings became all the lessons that I was learning through these years, and then I would put them together in coherent classes. And then when Breighton and I got together, we started putting both of our knowledges together.
For me, I grew up with an engineering background. My dad was one of the rocket scientists at JPL, and it was always, it had to be proven, it had to be solid. And then went away to college, and I'm going, but things are happening. I can see what people are thinking. I can see these shapes around them, these auras, and what is all that? And the physics isn't telling me what this is. And I went to college to try and figure it out, and none of it was there. So I had to start reaching past what those things, those constraints are that science imposes on what we think. And I still try and solve it. I still try and explain it. And so the metaphysics that comes in helps to explain the unknown. It helps to explain what we don't know. And it'll often say, well, we don't know, but that's okay. You just have to understand that there's ways to apply that in a universe where there are unknowns. Mm-hmm, and so when we got together, Kathy's very nonlinear, she's very psychic, she sees things happening that most people wouldn't, whether it's around a person or in the future or something like that. And I have my own psychic things that happen to me. And like when we read somebody's energy and we're doing a healing or trying to help them with challenges they might be doing, I see the person and I can look at them and see the energy around them in a certain way. And Kathy looks at them and she sees the energy around them. And they're different ways of seeing, but they agree with each other. So that confirmation is huge,
everything.
And it allows us to realize that each of us are seeing things accurately, even if we're not seeing the same things.
That makes sense.
It does.
I
That's
get
the cool part.
Wow, that's wonderful. So how did you guys meet? Uh-oh.
That's a story.
The story is that we met at a costume convention in
Pittsburgh.
And I knew the minute that I laid eyes on him that he was the one. It was as if the dealer room went instantly silent, and there were only the two of us speaking. And I knew. But Spirit tried to put us together 2 other times.
Indeed.
In fact, many years before, I was standing on a beach in La Jolla, California, and I pointed up and I said, "Honey," to my 2-year-old child who I was teaching to be psychic, "See that man? He's about to marry somebody that's not his life mate." And it was him.
And I was sitting there coming out of the rehearsal from the church, right, with my first wife, and I'm looking in the ocean and going, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And I looked down, and there was some people down at a restaurant over about 50 feet away, and that was her. But we never locked eyes. We never realized what might happen. But that was the first encounter between the two of us.
Spirit kept trying, though, because we're dense, you know. It's tough.
So now, 5 years later, I was designing video games for Atari back then, and a lot of games people probably have played, and was at a amusement operators convention where the companies sell these games to the people that run the arcades and such. And at the same time, this huge hotel in Chicago was a lactation consultants convention.
One of the many hats I wear.
One of the many hats she wears. And, of course, there were the jokes about the lactation people, but they were both there at the same time. And I'm standing in front of this elevator waiting to go up, and the doors open, and I looked right into her eyes.
And we passed each other again. And that time, there was eye contact and
what? Who was that mess?
But I was late for my speaking engagement, and so
I was
off we
late
went.
too.
So when we finally did make eye contact, it really was a big coming together, and we've been together ever since.
Oh my goodness! Wow. So what are some of the things that you teach? Like you teach workshops and classes?
Workshops and classes, skills for how to live in a world that's full of energy, that's full of invisible things, that's full of magic all around us and miracles.
Everybody is magical in their own way, and we each have our own psychic gifts. And I just feel that we need a little training and guidelines on reading subtle energy. And then the minute you have those guidelines, you go, oh, I don't do that, but what I do is this. And it allows you to come online and to live more fully. A magical life is much more exciting than a mundane
scientific.
Right now in our world, it's true. And right now in our world, so many people are waking up to their energy. And so how do you deal with that? Sensitive people feel things that are hard to take in. And it's very hard to know, is it out there or is it in me? And so people are going crazy thinking it's all energy in them. So we teach you how to identify energy that's coming from outside, energy that's within, and how you can shield yourself from those energies you don't want to be sensitive to, or don't want to be, if someone that was attacking you with energy, or just going into a crowd at a concert or something. There's a lot of chaotic energy around, and people who are becoming sensitive can find that very challenging. And so having the tools,
learning to ground and have tools to deal with that energy allows you to more fully live. That's all.
I think, I hope this isn't going to put you on the spot too much, but our viewers at home would love like a little tip that they can apply like now. So can you give us like a tip without like selling, without giving us the workshop that you know what I mean?
There's many ways to do it. Can you
just give us a little bit?
Let's do grounding.
Grounding.
I think that's 101 is grounding. And there are a lot of trained up people who think that they know how to do that. But grounding just releases that chaotic energy out of your body. And it can be as simple as but it's extending a cord down into the earth, at least shoulder width. I do it differently.
It's done with visualization.
He does pipes because he's a man.
My grandpa was a plumber.
I do trees.
She does it with trees. I do pipes.
And with my clients this morning, I said, imagine us to be great trees, and we're sending our roots down into the earth of Mother Earth, and my roots are tangling with yours. We're one now because we can talk in that root system. And I feel that many people don't know how to ground. Breathe in light, breathe out stress, breathe in light, breathe out anything that you have too much of that you don't want. Shame, nervousness, anxiety. The world is full of that these days, and knowing a quick way
to just release it.
Release and ground.
I think that's fantastic. That's something that everybody can use a little bit of.
And you
right
can do it
now.
in just 3, 4, 5 seconds. 2 breaths, and you're better.
It is that simple, isn't it?
It is
really
that
is.
simple.
And then
But you
it's
gotta
becoming a
have
habit and
think
making it a
about
habit.
Yeah. So that's a quick tip.
So putting it into your daily routine, like when you first wake up in the morning.
Or
Or
before
when-
you walk through the door at work. And that way you come from a place of strength.
Or before you get into your car. I'm not going to be
Grounded.
thrown off my center by somebody doing something stupid, right?
Yeah.
You become much more solid because you're grounded.
Super, super cool. So what do you got in your lap there?
Well, we teach metaphysics, but we also write fiction. And we've written a beautiful book called Crystal Traveler. It's kind of a unique book because when we got together, we had visions that we had had as kids, just thinking that maybe they were other lifetimes. And we would lay in bed and have pillow talk, and he would tell me his visions, and I would be like, I've been there. Wait,
my gosh.
I think I was there.
And she'd tell me some of hers, and I went, that was you? You know? And so we came up with many of these different scenes, these different moments throughout time, but especially in one particular lifetime where we recognized that we had both been there, because there's no way that we could have had these visions that were so synchronous with each other without having been there. So we said, well, we're not going to write something scientific because we don't want to have to prove it, but by putting these stories together, we have a very plausible, that seems right kind of a feeling to the book. And even the reviewers that have looked at it and going, this just seems so real. How do you get it to feel so real? And I was like, I was there. You know?
Right, we were there. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
for the readers, those of you who love Atlantis, this is a fictionalized story about a man from modern time who gets teleported back to Atlantis in the last year before the Great Flood.
Oh my goodness. I want to read it.
Yes, you
It's
do.
a romance novel. It's got a little, it's adult novel.
So it's a little racy there, huh?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, it is. But it's also really fun, and it's the first of a trilogy. And the plausible background of it is that we believe that we sent ourselves a crystalline message from Atlantis across time.
To us this
We
lifetime.
believe that we possess a map that shows us where that is, and we've been treasure hunting and have gone there. And this is the story, whether it's true or not, of how it traveled through time. And it involves several lifetimes that we have memories from, that we know we have something in common. We were trying to move forward. So not every word of it is true. It's been made into a story that makes it circles the ponies around and makes a coherent
Wow.
idea.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. I just love it.
It's an exciting tale. It's like a roller coaster ride.
With a little
here.
bit of racy going on, too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Close the eyebrow.
You gotta have some spice, People need spice.
Romance. We need more love in the world, and that's the other thing about Breighton and I. Whether we're teaching or we're writing books, we're really crazy in love, and we're just one of those couples, and we enjoy our time together. And even our children say, "Oh my gosh, you guys get a room."
I got that racy stuff going on.
Well, our daughter who read the book is going and says, "I love the book, but I had to skip over the
that was
the
parent
sex scenes
stuff."
because you're my parents. That's just too much information."
Wow, that is
Yeah.
wonderful. Wonderful. How can somebody get this book if they want to read it?
You can get it. It's on Amazon in
Oh,
all of its
great.
forms
Okay.
and all the other book online sales.
Wonderful.
You can go directly to the publisher Ex Libris, and they have a website. The easiest way is probably go straight to the website for the book, which is crystaltraveler.net.
Okay,
And
great.
there's
Gonna
a
catch you
video
in the
on
net.
it and excerpts and all that stuff.
Wow, wow. So do you guys teach, now you're in Buffalo, New York right now, but that's not home.
That's not home. Right now we're in West Virginia and in the Panhandle, kind of near DC. And we travel a lot during the summer. We just were speaking at LilyDale, and we have other places to go this summer. We're very grateful for the opportunity to teach.
Has that
We
been
really
your first
love it.
time to LilyDale?
Yes.
It was. I was that psychic kid that had heard about it, and I put it on my bucket list, and I'm 65 and I finally made it. Thanks, LilyDale.
Can you share a little bit, what was your experience there? Now, I haven't been there yet. It's on my bucket list. I'll be going soon in the near future. So, but what did you think of LilyDale? Like, can you encapsulate
It's an interesting group. They're very spiritual. They're into mediums and bringing that channel type information through. And they have many classes, and it's a beautiful fairy-like setting on a lake, and they have a lot of rules, for people that live there and how they do things. But I found the people, certainly the ones that came to our class, very enjoyable. We connected with them quite nicely. And so if you're interested in some of the alternative things, whether it's metaphysical or spiritual, they have a lot of resources and a lot of people.
And when you are a person who deals on the fringe like that, it's a great comfort to be around other people you can talk to about these things that don't give you a look like, okay. And so it attracts wonderful people with open minds and open hearts, and I really value that.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed a little earlier you had mentioned the beach with the 2-year-old. You said you were teaching the 2-year-old to be psychic.
Looking at me.
Oh. So I was wondering, is that something that can be taught? Actually, I'll just let you answer that.
I felt that she should write a book about it, because all 3 of our daughters are psychic to one degree or another, some very much, and others with their own special focus.
Isn't it true that everybody's born with
Everybody
Everybody
is,
is.
and we just have to learn what our gifts are. My first daughter is psychic with dolphins and whales, and
what does that mean?
And that means that she was able to
talk to Shamu?
perceive. Yes, she was able to perceive their presence. She was able to call them. She was able to calm them when they were in rehab, and
Talk to them.
she had that gift. And each one of our daughters has great gifts, and so. Because I was a psychic kid, I didn't get smushed by my parents. They didn't think that the devil was talking to me. They accepted me and said, "You're a wonderful little person. You just, this is just happening to you."
That's
And
fabulous.
so I feel like everybody's psychic and we need to not smush it. I don't know what it needs to grow into. I just think that everybody needs to be free and not encapsulated. And so giving words to anything from an aura to a feeling that something is coming that has not yet arrived, to me, those are indicators of really great gifts that you want to develop, just like the ability to read or the ability to drive. These are tools that make your life a better place.
So something as basic as what a layperson would call their gut instinct, their gut feeling,
Right.
is something that could be categorized. Because you
Absolutely.
can't scientifically prove a gut feeling. Right? There is no formula that says, pi r squared, gut feeling, yeah.
Although they're getting closer. Some of the newer studies in quantum mechanics and quantum physics are showing that the fact that I'm looking at that experiment, I'm changing the result. 5 years ago, that would have wiped that experiment right off the list of things that were possible. And now they're saying, no, there's reasons behind this. And so they're getting closer to being able to see some of these relationships, but they're not there yet. So that's why some people come to us for help, training, or just the classes. Being psychic, being a sensitive is a difficult gift in today's world, because there's so much going on that isn't necessarily fun to feel, especially
Right.
if you're sensitive to the dramas and the tragedies that are going on around you. And so knowing how to keep yourself whole so that you can be of service to those people in a difficult situation is part of the training that everybody should have, and we don't give to our people.
And I think everybody has it. We know who's going to call. We think about someone and their letter is in the mail. We already have a little bit of this, but it's a muscle you need to exercise.
Those are fabulous examples, too. Like, a lot of times I'll know what song's going to come out of the radio before it comes on,
Absolutely.
and I was wondering, does it echo first before it actually comes on, or am I? But so then I'm like flipping stations, and I think I'm going to hear Bobby Vinton, and all of a sudden there's Blue Velvet, because that's my mom. That was her one of her favorite songs, and she talks to me all the time. So it's wonderful. I mean, I think for a lot of regular people, if you will, people that are skeptic. The time when they stop being skeptic is when they lose a loved one and that loved one starts communicating. Now,
Absolutely.
Yay or nay, pennies and dimes, are those signs from...
We
It's really funny you would bring that up. Oh my gosh. We have dimes that fall from the ceiling.
Inside. In the car.
He has stacks of them in his office. Several of them. They fall, and it is like a sign from God that
We're on
things
the
are
right
going
track.
to be
This is-
okay, or that money's going to come.
I would love it to be that. It usually is not.
Where's
but-
the money?
Lord, how about some silver dollars? Right?
Right? No, but dimes. But yeah.
But I look at that and I always say thank you, because it's a sign that either I'm heading in the right direction or that, okay, it's not as hopeless as it looks. You know, it's always a sign of hope to me,
It is
or
hopeful.
that I'm being seen, right? That there's energy that knows what I'm going through, spirit or
It
know,
is
the
a
universe.
coincidence. It's not a fluke. It's spirit and 3D interacting. Hey, I wanted you to remember this. So you can see the blue jay going, and you think, why are you doing this? Why are you Yeah, it's telling you, hey, pay attention, pay attention. And
I've had a thing with Cardinals
you?
in strange places, like throughway. I'm getting on the entrance of a throughway. Here goes a cardinal in front of my car.
Huh, that's a cheerful, hopeful message.
Oh yeah. I get cardinals that kind of like follow me.
Yep,
It's
that's
kinda-
your animal.
I mean, I
totem.
think it's super cool when I
Yeah.
don't know, when I'm in a bit of a predicament and I'm not sure, am I doing the right thing, or I'm looking for answers and I'm asking, and then I finally get the answer is, don't worry about it.
Yep.
You're trying too hard.
We
Yep.
live in a world that is a living library
Yes.
of information, and it communicates to us in all sorts of ways. And the animals or the trees, there are many ways that the universe can communicate with us through that living library. And the cardinals are a definite way. For me, I have hawks, and it lands on the post next to the highway I'm driving by. It's like, uh-oh, cop ahead.
Slow down.
Slow down. Hawks are my warning, you know, and if they're on the post, oh, it's a radar guy. If he flies away up there, it's probably an airplane. If he swoops by me from behind, it's like, uh-oh, you know, who's back there? So, but they're always, and they have saved
Right.
they've
Yeah.
saved me many times.
Slow
from having to
down.
slow down. And if he like whoosh right across the windshield, it's like, uh-oh, accident, something bad. And I slow down, and sure enough, everybody stopped right around the corner. You
Wow.
know, they speak to us. But you have to recognize that that's what's happening. And so just being open to that living library, being open to the fact that there's more going on here than just what we can see with our eyes is
And
is
that
the big
everything
piece
is
of it.
sentient and has the ability to be your teacher. That's
You're a
one
life
of our
student, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I also believe that the more you open, the more you receive.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole
Absolutely.
thing with the coins,
Absolutely.
like when my mom passed away and I started finding pennies randomly, when my dad passed away, I started finding dimes, and then I would find a penny and a dime together.
Oh, that's
Like,
beautiful.
that's
Right
a
outside my
beautiful
door,
thing.
in my driveway, I look down and there's a penny and a dime. So nobody had come over. I mean, they weren't there before. My son and I, he's a complete skeptic. He's like, nope. Okay, I want Grandma D to leave a penny on my nightstand. We leave and come back, and sure enough, there was a penny on his
Is
nightstand.
that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
there definitely
I have-
is more to life that meets the eye.
And I have to say that when my mom passed away, I went home and I was weeping in my bed, and it was deep in the night. And I said, I just need to know, I just need a sign that your soul is free. And the door blew open, it was in January, and autumn leaves came blowing in, the light came on, and 5 English pennies fell from my ceiling. And I never knew what it was. And 25 years later, did I meet a man that said, you know what that is, don't you? And I said, no, what is that? And he said that there was some ancient story about having to pay the ferryman for your passage into heaven or across the river Styx or whatever. And there were coins over your eyes and your mouth. And
And
the
your
extra
hands.
coin said that she got in free because she was such a great person.
Aww. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that a great
Wow.
story?
It is.
Whether it's true or not, I choose to believe it.
And that's what matters.
because she was
I have
that
two
good.
more questions because we still have a few minutes left, so I want to get all we can out of you. I think that there's a bunch of our viewers at home. I'm using them as an excuse now. I got a friend. When should we pay attention to our dreams?
Yes.
What happens when loved ones come to our dreams?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to communicate.
So
Really,
is that real?
I
To
feel
the
it is
extent you
real.
believe it, it is.
you have to let it in. Is it real that the cardinal had a message for you? Is it real that someone from the other side who left their beloveds would want to come back and say something to you so you wouldn't feel so bad?
When we dream, we leave the constraints of our three-dimensional body. We are now in what they call an altered state. And you are open to so much more information if you allow it to be there. In fact, there's nothing that you couldn't know in a dream if you believed you could find that information. And so it's an avenue. It's a way that those that we love could come back to us, whereas it's so much harder to come into the physical, but going into the dreams, that's easy.
And we have our conscious mind, which is our beta brain, and we wouldn't
lawyer.
believe in that. That would be the lawyer. I don't think so. But remember that even hypnotism is an applied altered state, and so is sleep. And when you start to slow those frequencies down and your brain waves go from 12 to 8, and 8 to 4, we're going out of beta and into alpha and down into theta. And when you're in sleep, you're in delta, but you're still highly suggestible, and you are in that altered state. And the data that comes through to you is completely different. If I were to ask you, tell me a happy childhood memory, you'd probably go to Disneyland or some birthday party or some really big event that your beta brain remembered. But if I hypnotize you and I say, take me to a happy childhood memory, you'll go to a time that you're between 2 and 4. You're sitting, it's very quiet and peaceful. You'll notice peeling paint and carpet fibers and things that would never have been in your conscious memory bank, and you will pull those memories
it's a
back.
moment where
back. So
it
sleep
was
does the
peaceful.
same thing, and it allows those loved ones to tap you on the shoulder and to push that message away. Is sad because they really just want you to be okay because they are.
We had
Alright.
a moment at our home where one of my grandmothers came through, and it was in a dream time.
We only have about a minute left. just
Okay,
so
and
you
so I woke up and Kathy's going, "What's that smell?" And I'm going, "That's Avon. My grandmother was an Avon sales lady, and the smell was there when she left, and so that was
Oh
her
my
sign,
gosh.
Things
as
can be
opposed to
real.
a penny."
Wow. Wow. It's almost like Ripley's Believe It or Not. The spiritual edition.
Believe it, it's so much more fun.
Much more fun.
Wow.
More
Wonderful.
fun
So can I
life.
see this for a moment?
Of course you
Okay,
can.
so here's the book. It's called Crystal Traveler, and it is by Kathleen and Breighton Dawe. And hopefully you can pick that up for yourself. It's been a pleasure. We are out of time. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you again next week on the You Can with Suzanne show. Bye.
Bye.